Welcome to the stream, everyone. If you're new, my name's Brian, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome. If you'd like to call in, if you're watching live, the number is pinned at the top of the chat, and it's toll free. Well, I watched President Trump's speech today from Trump Tower, and I thought it was an amazing speech. It's a historical speech. You know, after this corrupt judge and this corrupt courtroom with this corrupt prosecutor and this corrupt government that has more charges and convictions against Donald Trump than El Chapo, for a president to come out and address the American people like Trump did today after such an unlawful thing happened is historic. It's important. I was really impressed with his speech. And what I thought I would do is play it. And maybe we'll stop down as it goes on and talk about it. Maybe you can call in. But I wanted to go through the speech again. Bruce just gifted himself a membership. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Greetings, MAGA. Hold your heads up. Yeah, now I just want to say this about holding your heads up. There's not been a moment since Trump came down the escalator that these never-Trumpers have not been going after him. They've been investigating him since he came down the escalator. Remember, they were spying on him at Trump Tower, the Access Hollywood, the Mueller report, impeachment 1 and 2, the whole thing. Okay, January 6th, it's been endless. And this is just the way it is going to be forever. Okay? It's going to be this way for the rest of his life and beyond. They're never going to leave him alone. All right? Not only are they not going to leave him alone even throughout his second term, you know, when he comes back into office in January, it's not all going to be rainbows. These monsters are going to continue to harass him even in his second term to try to stop him. Mary just gifted 5 memberships. Well, thank you so much, Mary. And those of you that got the memberships, you got all the cool emojis now. Thanks so much, Mary, for that gift to everyone. They're never going to leave him alone, and they're going to do everything they can do to stop him after he's reelected. And another thing about it, you know, even after he's gone, okay, many years in the future, 50 years from now, when President Trump passes away, they're still going to try to stop him from having a proper presidential ceremony. They're never going to leave him alone. So that's just something I've accepted years ago, and I think a lot of you have as well. Now, I want to go through the speech. Yes, welcome to all the new members. That's awesome. I want to go through the speech. I thought it was a fantastic speech. I thought it was absolutely amazing, and I also thought that it was incredibly inspiring. You know, here you got a guy. It's so sad when an innocent person is convicted of crimes, and here you have in Donald Trump, a man who's done nothing wrong. He's done no crime. And they got 34 convictions against him. 34. You know, and this liberal hack corrupt jury, here we are a day later. It's been over 24 hours. We have 12 jurors and 4 alternates. You mean out of 16 liberal jerks, not one of them is out there doing interviews with the press, even one of the alternates? Come on. There's a reason why they're being quiet. Why? We'll find out. Things that happened inside that jury room are going to come out, and we'll be able to put some of the pieces back together as to what went down. But let's go through this great speech from our great president, Donald Trump, which I was really impressed by this.
Everybody.
And he looks great.
This is a case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone.
That's right.
These are bad people. These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people.
Yep, and evil.
When you look at our country, what's happening, where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America, from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East, and they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums.
You know, this is just insane to me. You know, that the government and the media just think that that's okay. This invasion going on at the U.S.
They're
southern
coming in
border.
from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it because they could right now, today. He could stop it. But he's not. They're destroying our country. Our country is in very bad shape. And
It sure is.
they're very much against me saying these things. They want to raise your taxes by 4 times. They want to stop you from having cars.
Yep.
With their ridiculous mandates that make it impossible for you to get a car or afford a car. But make it very possible for China to build all of our cars. It's a very serious problem
Yep.
that we have. We just went through one of many experiences where we had a conflicted judge, highly conflicted.
No doubt
There's
about
never
that.
been a more conflicted judge. Now, I'm under a gag order, which nobody's ever been under. No presidential candidate's ever been under a gag order before.
You know, this is amazing because, you know, the risk that President Trump is taking here, this corrupt judge is going to sentence him to jail, right? Do you all accept that this corrupt judge is going to sentence him to jail? Do you agree with that? Yes or no in the chat? You can let me know, or let me know in the comments if you're not watching live. And here's President Trump calling out this corrupt judge on national television today. You know how brave that is? It's pretty brave.
I'm under a gag order, nasty gag order, where I've had to pay thousands of dollars in penalties and fines and was threatened with jail. Think of it. I'm the leading candidate. I'm
right.
leading Biden by a lot, and I'm leading the Republicans to the point where that's over. So I'm the leading person for president, and I'm under a gag order.
Insane.
By a man that can't put 2 sentences together, given by a court, and they are in total conjunction with the White House and the DOJ, just so you understand. This is all done by Biden and his people. Maybe his people more importantly. I don't know if Biden knows too much about it, because I don't know if he knows about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But he's nevertheless the president, so we have to use his name. And this is done by Washington, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. So we have a judge who's highly conflicted. You know what the confliction is. Nobody wants to write about it.
Yeah, and you know, a big story came out from Laura Loomer yesterday. She was on Bannon's show. She was on the War Room, and Loomer broke this story to Bannon. It just blew my mind, and I haven't heard any of it in the mainstream corporate media, that the judge had seats reserved so that his daughter could bring Democrat donors into the courtroom. So basically, the judge was selling seats to the courtroom trial of Donald Trump through his daughter and donors. Have you ever heard of something like that happening before? Any other judge, any other client, mistrial, people would be in all kinds of trouble, but they're allowed to do whatever it is they want to do to Trump.
And I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, he said, I get put in jail. So we'll play that game a little bit longer. We won't talk about it, but you're allowed to talk about it. I hope you do, because there's never been anybody so conflicted as this. As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft. People say, oh, he seems like such a nice man. No, unless you saw him in action.
Yeah.
And you saw that with a certain witness that went through hell. And when we wanted to do things, he wouldn't let us do those things. But when the government wanted something, they got everything.
Yeah, well, because the judge's daughter took the $10 million. You know, what's the most frightening thing about this isn't just that they're doing it. It's that they're doing this all in the open, and they don't even bother hiding what they're doing. You know, there's always been corruption in government at levels like this. Now, you know, that we all accept that, but they used to do it in secret. Now they're completely fearless, and they're doing all of this out in the open.
Got everything they wanted. It was a rigged trial. We wanted a venue change. where we could have a fair trial. We didn't get it. We wanted a judge change. We wanted a judge that wasn't conflicted. And obviously he didn't do that. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We had a DA who is a failed DA. Crime is rampant in New York, violent crime. That's what he's really supposed to be looking at. Mm-hmm. Crime is rampant in New York. Yesterday in McDonald's, you had a man hitting him up with machetes, a machete.
Yeah, I saw that.
Whoever can imagine even a machete being wielded in a store, in a place where they're eating, and he's going rampant, and Bragg is down watching a trial on what they call crimes. They're falsifying business records. That sounds so bad. To me, it sounds very bad. You know, it's only a misdemeanor, but to me, it sounds so bad. When they say falsifying business, that's a bad thing for me. I've never had that before. Mm-hmm. I'm falsifying. You know what falsifying business records is? In the first degree. They say falsifying business records. Sounds so good, right? It means that legal expense, I paid a lawyer, totally legal. I paid a lawyer a legal expense. And a bookkeeper, without any knowledge from me, correctly marked it down in the books. A very professional woman, highly respected, she testified. Marked it down in the books as a legal expense. So a legal expense, paid a lawyer, is a legal expense in the books. Right. It's not sheetrock, construction, or any other thing. It's a legal expense. Think of that. This is what the falsification of business records were. And I said, what else are you going to call it? What else are you going to call it? Now, exactly. I would have testified. I wanted to testify. The theory is you never testify, because as soon as you testify, anybody, if it were George Washington, don't testify, because they'll get you on something that you said slightly wrong, and then they sue you for perjury. But I didn't care about that. I wanted to. But the judge allowed them to go into everything that I was ever involved in, not this case, everything that I was ever involved in, which is a first. In other words, you could go into every single thing that I ever did. Was he a bad boy here? Was he a bad boy there? And my lawyer said, what do you need to go through? And all you wanted to do is testify simply on this case. Because I would have loved to have testified. To this day, I would have liked to have testified. But you would have said something out of whack, like it was a beautiful sunny day and it was actually raining out.
Yeah, see, that's one of those perjury traps they do. They ask you, you say it's sunny, but it was really raining, you forgot, you thought it was sunny. Oh, you've lied under oath. You've committed perjury. We're charging you with a felony of perjury. That's what they do. That's what they do. So him not testifying was a very wise decision. I know it had to be difficult for him. By the way, this amazing historic address to the nation that President Trump did here that we're going through, this is living history. One of the most important moments in presidential history is right here with Donald Trump. I think he looks great. You consider what he's going through right now. What would you be like if you were dealing with this? He is facing the rest of his life in prison. And he's still fighting for us here. I follow Paul, $10 super chat. Thanks so much. Says, I enjoy the show. Well, thank you. I follow Paul for that super chat. And I'm glad you enjoy the program. I mean, anybody else, you, me, we'd be flipping out right now. We'd cave, like Jenna Ellis maybe. They threaten these people. He is facing the rest of his life in prison. And this judge would like to send him there for the rest of his life. And he's still calling out the judge very specifically and fighting hard for all of us. It's absolutely amazing.
And I very much appreciate the big crowd of people outside. That's incredible.
Where's Amnesty
what's
International?
Happening. The level of support has been incredible. So the whole thing is legal expense was marked down as legal expense. Think of it. This is the crime that I committed that I'm supposed to go to jail for 187 years for.
Unbelievable.
When you have violent crime all over this city at levels that nobody's ever seen before, where you have businesses leaving, and businesses are leaving because of this, because heads of businesses say, man, we don't want to get involved with that. I could go through the books of any business person in this city, and I could find things that in theory, I guess, let's indict him, let's destroy his life. But I'm out there, and I don't mind being out there because I'm doing something for this country, and I'm doing something for our Constitution. It's very important.
Yeah, this is absolutely amazing. Because I know a lot of people are saying today, he should just drop out. He should just retire to Mar-a-Lago and all this stuff. There has not been an American who has taken such risks since the Founding Fathers broke away from England. He's risked everything, and he's still fighting. And I'll tell you, I'm not listening to any of these people in the news that are doing victory laps over this. I have zero interest for people that are high-fiving and doing victory laps. Liberals that are celebrating this, it's a bad look, and it does help us and Trump and the movement and all that, the MAGA movement. They most definitely have made a martyr out of President Trump. America's Mandela right here, right? That's what he is, America's Mandela. And it's a bad look, but it's also disgusting. And it ticks me off that these people are so short-sighted and so stupid that they don't understand how dangerous it is to set a legal precedent where when there's a popular person running for office that you can't beat, all of a sudden you unleash the justice system illegally against them and maybe imprison them. This is not something we've ever seen in this country before. We've seen it in third world countries, but America has been the example for the world of what freedom is, democracy, even our justice system. And then this happens.
Far beyond me. And this can't be allowed to happen to other presidents. It should never be allowed to happen in the future. But this is far beyond me. This is bigger than Trump. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than my presidency. And the people understand it because I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail. That was the first one, came out, was done last night right after the verdict, where I'm up 6 points. 6 points from what we already were. We were leading fairly substantially. We're up 6 points in the Daily Mail poll. Now, maybe other polls come out and it says something differently. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people have predicted it because the public understands and they understand what's going on. This is a scam. There's a rigged trial. It shouldn't have been in that venue. We shouldn't have had that judge. He should have allowed us to have an election expert. We had the best expert, most respected expert, head of the Federal Elections Commission. He was all set to testify. He was waiting for 2 days. And when
now this was a key witness that they wouldn't allow in, that the judge wouldn't allow in, because the federal elections, the FEC refused to prosecute this allegation because there was no crime. So President Trump and his legal team wanted to bring this guy up from the FEC to explain why there was no crime, and that's why the FEC didn't pursue it, and the judge wouldn't allow it.
When it was his turn, Bragg's people protested, and the judge knocked him out, said you can't testify. He actually said you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help. Everybody knows that. But you can't testify. So essentially, he wasn't able to testify. Other people weren't able to testify. But with these people, they were able to use people salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened. There was no anything. Nothing ever happened, and they know it. But they were as salacious as they could be, and it had nothing to do with the case. But it had to do with politics.
Yep.
And do you notice the timing? The timing was perfect. This case was dead. It was dropped by every agency, every governmental board. It was dropped by the highly respected Southern District. They said, no, there's no case here.
And by the way, the Southern District, that's federal. Remember, these are federal charges. He was convicted of federal charges in a state court. They don't even have jurisdiction over that. On that alone, the appeals court, the Supreme Court, they'll toss it out. By the way, has Ron DeSantis said anything about this unjust conviction yet? I haven't seen anything from my governor, Ron DeSantis.
It was dropped by federal election, and that's what it's about. This is about a federal election, not a state election. You're not even allowed to look at it. They took the state and the city, and they went into a federal election. They're not allowed. The people from federal election, Southern District, and Washington dropped the case. Everybody dropped the case. There was no case.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Michael in California. How are you today?
Hey, Michael. Good. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. If anybody should be facing 187 years, it should be Michael Cohen. He's the one who committed these crimes, and Trump, I feel Trump didn't have any knowledge of it until he found out that Cohen was stealing from him.
Well, Michael Cohen had a scam going on, right? And if you remember the testimony with Stormy Daniels' lawyer, that wasn't a slip. That was, you snowflakes. That's called humor. Sorry. Stormy Daniels' lawyer said that they wanted $100,000, so it was $135,000. That the $35,000 is his commission.
Yeah,
right. It's his commission on it.
He was basically extorting money from Trump.
Exactly.
Trying to extort Trump,
and he was doing the same thing with. He did the same thing with McDougal.
Yeah, and E.G. whatever the hell her name is, I can't remember
Carroll,
her name.
That lunatic.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever met her in his entire life. Who the hell thinks Trump would go to a department store and just randomly rape somebody? Nobody. That's a bullshit.
And nobody saw it.
And
that's okay. It's online. You can say bullshit. It's okay. Can't say it when I'm on the radio.
No, yeah, and she's not even his type. I mean, he dates supermodels. He's a billionaire. I mean, why on earth would he want to even talk to her? He wouldn't even talk to her. Maybe take a picture with her. Yeah, that's about it. But come on now. But anyways, I disagree with you. I don't think they're going to be putting him in jail.
Well, make sure. Okay, hold on a second here. Hold on. Well, I'm not talking about him actually going into a jail cell. I'm talking about the judge's sentence. I think you don't think the judge is going to sentence him to jail.
But he actually physically won't go to jail because of the logistics of the nightmare of the logistics of the Secret Service that they'll have to go through. I bet you the Secret Service will tear him a new a-hole, if you know what I mean. If
I wouldn't.
In a jail cell.
Listen. The Secret Service are part of the federal government. They answer to Biden.
But he's also
isn't the Secret Service now under they used to be under Treasury, but aren't they under Homeland now? So if that means they answer to Mayorkas.
But if he does end up in a jail cell, then his African American support will double. I have no doubt about that. Because of the people that come over here.
There's a play going on here. So I was talking about this morning. And this is what I'm not saying they're going to be successful at this, but there's a play going on, and I believe that the Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, Bush family, all those snakes, are working towards nominating Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis at the convention.
Mm-hmm.
Ron DeSantis being the vice president. She's got delegates. She came in second place. She's still campaigning. She went over to Israel to sign those bombs and all that stuff. And I think that they think that there's I'm not saying they're going to be successful in this, but they think there's a path because they're going to this guy is going to get sentenced to jail 4 days before the convention, and they're planning on nominating Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis.
I don't think they would have the balls to do that because they saw the fundraising numbers yesterday and the site crashing down.
But do you think that's on their mind, though? You think that was on their mind yesterday?
No, they don't care, honestly. But they'll piss off a lot of people, and
they don't care.
That's what counts.
They don't
care about us. They'll start a civil war pretty much if that happens. And if anything, if the verdict told us anything yesterday, if the verdict told us anything yesterday, the election's over. It's in Trump's back pocket, and Biden can't
we are
from
probably. I would wager that we're going to have the largest voter turnout maybe in U.S. history. And I'm going to tell you, I want to tell you guys something. I want to get back to the speech, so I don't want to get sidelined too much. But and by the way, you're all welcome to call in as I'm going through the speech.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
But All right, thank you for the call. But I do want to say, I think it's important when early voting starts in your state that you vote early. You know, we're going to have the largest turnout ever. And I voted early in the Republican primary here in Florida. President Trump is telling people to vote early when you have early voting in your state, and I'm going to do that. And the turnout is going to be so high, okay? The turnout is going to be so high that things are going to get jammed up on Election Day. So when early voting starts, I'm voting. Back to Trump.
Cy Vance dropped the case. And when Bragg came in, he said, this is the most ridiculous case I've ever seen. And who would have a certain person, again, gag order, who would have a certain person like this ever testify? He said, this is essentially one of the worst people I've ever seen ever to testify. Mm-hmm. He said, the craziest case I've ever seen. This is Bragg.
Paying your bills on time raises your credit score, right? Wrong. In fact, this is one of the...
I guess YouTube wants a commercial there. Hold on, guys. Let me mute all that out. I don't know how that happened. Hold on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Essentially one of the worst people I've ever seen ever.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Aurelio. I'm from St. Louis.
Hey, you got to talk closer to the phone so I can hear you better.
Oh, how you doing? My name is Aurelio. I'm from St. Louis.
Hey, what's up?
So I was just going to say the probably the best thing that these guys can hope for at this point is that the RNC doesn't nominate. I think if they don't nominate Trump, I think that's their best shot at them having any type of win with Biden.
Oh, if they don't nominate Trump,
right.
What I'd like to
best
see
they can hope for.
Yeah, probably. But you know what? The Bushes, they voted for Biden. They voted for Hillary too. So so they wouldn't mind that. What I would like to see discussed, and I'm not the first person to say this. People have been talking about this since yesterday, but it hasn't picked up a lot of steam yet. I'd like to see the Republicans move the nomination to the 4th of July and do it
that
before.
Would be pretty neat.
It would, and I think it would send a message.
Yes, it would, definitely, because even no matter what this guy's going to do, he could be in a jail cell or whatever. I will still walk through fire to vote for him, even if I have to write him in. So that's why I'm saying the best thing that they can hope for is that they don't nominate him. That's the only thing that will demoralize the Republicans for Trump.
Well, that's just not going to happen.
I would still vote. Right.
Let me tell you. Listen, while I do believe they have a fantasy that they can plug in Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, the people that are delegates at these conventions are people that are politically active and connected. A lot of them are elected officials in their local towns, city commissioners, mayors, state senators, people like that. And if these delegates nominate someone else, they're all done. They're all unelectable forever.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to be successful in nominating someone else, but that doesn't mean they're not thinking about it.
Right.
They're always scheming. They're always scheming.
They're always scheming to something. You're right about that. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you listen.
Well, listen, it's good to hear from you. Thanks so much. CR, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. CR says, God is in control. Pray for President Trump. We love him. Absolutely. I agree with everything you said there, CR, and thanks for the super chat. All right, let me get back to the Trump speech. Yeah, you're welcome to call. If you're watching live, you're very much welcome to call in. The number is pinned to the top of the chat. If you're new to my channel, subscribe. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I live stream every day, and I always take live calls when I'm in one of my broadcast studios like I am now.
Long time later, they decided to revive this case. And they got a judge.
Corrupt judge.
Marchand,
Corrupt.
who was responsible for another case that was also brought.
Absolutely. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Arkansas. This is Mike.
Hey, Mike.
And, I got cut off this morning. I first thought you did it, but I think my Wi-Fi. I mean, not my Wi-Fi, but my Bluetooth done it.
Oh, okay.
And but I sounded stupid.
What sounded stupid?
Well,
you sounded stupid.
Trump was going in Trump was going in democracy, and he will. But we don't live under a democracy. Well, we do, but we're not supposed to. It's supposed to be a representative republic.
Well, that look, that's how libertarians talk. That's just splitting hairs. It's a republic. The United States is a republic. It's also a representative democracy. And but arguing whether or not we're a republic or a democracy, what's the point of that? What's the point of arguing whether we're arguing whether, because people bring, I'm not giving you a hard time, but people bring this up all the time. Like it's important to a lot of people. Why does debating that? Why is that such a big deal to you?
Well, democracy, it's mob rule, really.
No, the United States. No. There's different kinds of democracies. What you're talking about is a direct democracy, where if there's going to be something, everybody has to vote on it.
That's what the Democrats are trying to get through now.
What we have, the United States is a republic, but it's a representative democracy as well, meaning we elect representatives to go and do our bidding. So it's both representative democracy and a republic. But it doesn't. But debating that, it's not helpful.
Yeah. Well, I just found out today that the Clinton Foundation is based in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, that's right.
So it could be turnabout play. You know what I mean?
Well, you're in Little Rock, right? President Clinton has his presidential library there.
No, I'm not in Little Rock.
You're in Arkansas?
That's capital Arkansas.
Oh, you're in Arkansas. Okay. But, he has his presidential library in Little Rock. And, there's a replica of his Oval Office at Bill Clinton's presidential library in Little Rock, Arkansas, right? Do you think that Bill Clinton has ever had sex with women in the replica of his Oval Office trying to relive the glory days? I
don't know.
I bet he has.
It's a possibility.
I bet it's a strong way. Hey, man, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
I don't know. I think since he's been president, he's been back to Little Rock very few times.
Yeah, well, he used to go there a little bit, but anyway. Yeah. All right, well, let's get back to the greatest president ever.
It destroyed the life of a very good man, by the way. Destroyed the life of a very good man who went to prison once, and then they just put him in prison again because they said he lied. He didn't lie. I looked at the statements he made. In fact, he didn't remember something, and they put him in jail. Again, they've destroyed him. With me for many years, he was an honorable person. He was an honest man. And if you look at what he did, supposedly, it never happened. There's never been anything like this. Over the education of his grandchildren. He didn't report that he had a car or 2 cars on his income. I don't know. I wonder how many people here have cars. I wonder how many people said, oh, gee, I have a car that's worth X dollars. How do you even figure it? And I guess you do have to report it, but I would say probably almost nobody does. Nobody even thinks about it. They put this man, they destroyed this man, but they put him in jail again because they didn't want him to testify. They didn't want him to testify. That's why he went to jail. They put him in jail twice. He's 77 years old. Now, normally I'd say that's an old guy, but I don't feel 77. Nobody ever says that about me. I'd like them to say, gee, we have to have a little sorrow for this man, because they just don't say that about me, but maybe I'm better off that.
Yeah, exactly. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, it's Joan from Tampa Bay / Valrico, Florida.
Welcome. We're having our Trump speech watch party here. I think this is a powerful, important speech. I'm moved listening to it.
I already watched it.
Well, I'm sorry. Maybe not everybody did.
Well, I did. But anyway,
okay.
No.
Am I boring you? Am I boring you in Tampa?
No, the whole thing is crazy because that man did not sit at the kitchen table, like I said before, and get a bill and write it out. He had people in accounting, and a bill came in, and he paid it.
That's right.
And they are all corrupt.
Yeah.
They are. How
exactly.
many of those people went and said, "Oh, we're going to get Trump. We're going to get Trump."
Anybody that's hired, I've had to hire lawyers like just for tickets, right? I haven't had to hire a lawyer for anything too serious, but you hire a lawyer, those ticket lawyers. It's a legal expense. You pay them. You don't write down what exactly they did. You just write the check. You don't write down in your ledger, this was for the time that I was going 12 miles an hour over the speed limit. You know what I mean? You don't get all detail. You just like lawyer, legal fees. And by the way, writing down specifically in a record like that what you're using an attorney for violates your right to privacy with your lawyer.
But the thing is, didn't the lawyer, the lawyer-client privilege, didn't he,
Well, that's another thing I don't understand. How many Trump lawyers have been arrested and charged? How many Trump lawyers have had to give testimony against him? A whole bunch of them. I've never heard of such a thing. Lawyers, there are criminal defense lawyers who represent child molesters. I've never heard, and defense attorneys in many ways are accessories after the fact, because a defense attorney, if they're representing a rapist, a child molester, if they're representing a killer, they're trying to keep that person out of jail, right?
Right.
You don't prosecute, and you don't prosecute them for trying to help someone get away with murder or rape, right?
Right. But the only thing I've said before, too, is the only criminals in that room was an extortionist and a thief.
Yeah, Michael Cohen. Well, there's other criminals, and there's other criminals, too. The judge, the prosecutors.
Well, that's true.
And maybe the juror. We got to find out what happened with the jury.
Right. You never heard nothing after, you usually hear something when court breaks,
Exactly. We've heard nothing about what happened inside that jury room. Nothing.
Not a ding-dang thing.
Which is very suspicious to me. Very suspicious, because you've got 12 jurors and 4 alternates. And that's 16 people. You're telling me 16 liberal New Yorkers, not one of them has wanted to go and talk and spill their guts about what went on? Come on.
And you know what? The thing is, the judge gave them like a Chinese menu. Mm-hmm. One from column A, one from column B.
Exactly.
And 2 from column C.
That's exactly right. It's awful.
And it didn't matter how you mishmashed
now, do you
up.
think that the judge is going to sentence Donald Trump to jail time?
Well, wait a minute. It didn't matter how they mishmashed it up. He would be guilty.
Well,
period.
You could still say not guilty. Not guilty means not guilty, and there wasn't a holdout.
Well, they were choosing from the Chinese menu.
It didn't matter if it was. It didn't matter what the menu was. Not guilty means not guilty, and there wasn't a holdout. The odds. You got 34 cases. We all followed the case. Trump did nothing wrong, right? The witnesses cleared him. So the odds of getting 12 people to go guilty on 34 different charges is astronomically high. There's something very fishy about that.
They couldn't get it in that jurisdiction. If they put it in Staten Island is red. He would have been exonerated.
Well, it depends on what they did. These could just be liberal Trump haters. They could have been bought off, like the judge's family have been bought off. They could have been scared. I was talking to some callers on the stream this morning, and I said if I was on El Chapo's jury, I would have voted not guilty, right? Because the cartels will come after you and your family for the rest of your lives, And so there could have been intimidation. When Robert De Niro went down to the courthouse the other day, he was talking to the jury. That whole thing was about the jury, not us.
Of course.
So so something. It's possible that they were corrupt, bought off, or intimidated.
But if they put it in another district, like I said, Staten Island, Staten Island is red.
Well, that doesn't necessarily matter if they're threatening people. And just because an area is red doesn't mean everybody's Republican in the district. They have ways. They have ways. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Thanks so much. I do. It's not something happened in that jury room, and we don't know yet. Something happened. Those are the three possibilities. Liberal jerks that hate Trump and just went guilty, bought off, or intimidated, right? Do you agree that those three are possibilities? Something stinks, or one of the 16 would have talked.
That way. I think I'm probably better off that way. But they put him in jail twice. And you have to see what they put him in jail. And he was threatened by the judge. This man was told, you're going to get 15 years in jail if you don't give up Trump. And he was told that. You're going to get 15 years in jail.
Unbelievable.
And he made a plea deal because he didn't want to spend the rest of his life. And he was told that viciously. We're living in a fascist state. He was told that viciously.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to jail for 4 months, 5 months, or you can get 15 years in jail. So do a plea.
Rest of your life.
Almost who wouldn't do that plea? Everyone does those pleas. It's a horrible thing. There's a whole group of lawyers that fight that. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. But they destroyed his life. So many other things. You look at Southern District didn't want to bring the case. Nobody wanted to bring the case. And then you know who didn't want to bring the case? Most of all is Bragg.
That's right.
Bragg didn't want to bring it. But then he brought it. And they tried to make it a different case. They didn't say legal expense equal legal expense. Again, if I wrote down and paid a lawyer, and by the way, this was a highly qualified lawyer. Now, I'm not allowed to use his name because of the gag order. But, you know, he's a sleazebag. Everybody knows
Michael
that.
Cohen.
Took me a while to find out. But he was effective.
Sleazebag Cohen.
Work. But he wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. You know, they like to use the word fixer. He wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. At the time, he was a fully accredited lawyer. Now, he got into trouble not because of me. He got into trouble because he made outside deals, and he had something to do with taxi cabs and medallions, and he borrowed money. And that's why he went. And then he pled to three election violations. And as soon as I saw that, I said, I wonder why he did that. He pled. He took a deal. Now, he took a deal because he wanted to get off. In other words, I'll take a plea deal and I want to get off. And he wanted to make a deal with the Southern District. And they wrote the worst report I think I've ever seen on any human being, other than the report that was written on James Comey by the Inspector General.
Yeah.
A very great Inspector General, actually. Wrote a report that was so bad. This one was possibly worse. The Southern District, the judge didn't let us use it. He said, it's hearsay. I said, it's not hearsay. Wouldn't let us use it.
I mean, this is insane. You know, wait till we get the rest of what went on in the courtroom when the sentencing is over. So any witness or any evidence that showed that Trump did nothing wrong, the judge wouldn't allow. Time and time again, multiple times. Because, see, these evildoers don't care if it's overturned. They expect it to be overturned. And it will be overturned. But they're always going to call him a convicted felon, even when it's overturned. Okay? That's all they wanted. The Democrat presidential campaign is all based around that. They have the slogans and everything else already. They just wanted that convicted felon label to put upon him, like it means something. And I don't think it means anything. In fact, I was asking the question this morning, is Donald Trump really a convicted felon? This court, as you hear Trump detail this, I think this is very important. He's being very specific here. Witnesses and evidence, multiple witnesses and multiple pieces of evidence that totally showed that Trump did nothing wrong, The judge wouldn't allow the jury to hear it because he's working for the prosecution team.
This is about the man. But he got in trouble for a very simple reason, because he was involved with borrowing a lot of money, and he did something with the banks. I don't know if it's defrauded the banks, but something happened. You guys know what it is.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, he gave up on 3 things where he wasn't guilty. In fact, they were going to testify in that. The head of the FEC, the Brad Smith, the election expert, #1 rated in the country, who was going to testify. He took a plea on 3 things. He just added them in because that gave him more bargaining power with respect to me. But the 3 things that he pled on, having to do with the election and having to do essentially a little bit with me, they weren't crimes. They weren't crimes. Nor is paying money under an NDA. So we have an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. It's a big deal, a non-disclosure agreement. Totally honorable, totally good,
Everybody
totally accepted. Everybody has them. Every company has non-disclosure agreements.
Mm-hmm.
But the press called it slush fund and all sorts of other things. Hush money, hush money. It's not hush money. It's called a non-disclosure agreement. And most of the people in this room have a non-disclosure agreement with their company.
That's right.
It's a disgrace. So it's not hush money. It's a non-disclosure agreement, totally legal, totally common. Everyone has it. And what happened is he signed a non-disclosure agreement with this person, I guess other people, but it's totally honest. You're allowed to make the payment. You don't have to make it. You can make it any way you want. It's a non-disclosure agreement. And he signed that. And there was nothing wrong with signing it. And this should have been a non-case. And everybody said it was a non-case, including Bragg. Bragg said, until I ran for office. And then they saw the polls. I was leading the Republicans. I was leading the Democrats. I was leading everybody.
And then they panicked.
And all of a sudden, they brought it back. It's a very sad thing that's happening in our country.
Sure
and
is.
It's a thing that I'm honored. In a way, I'm honored. It's not that it's pleasant. It's very bad for family. It's very bad for friends and businesses. But I'm honored to be involved in it because somebody has to do it. And I might as well keep going and be the one. But I'm very honored to be involved because we're fighting for our Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, this is such... I was really moved by President Trump today. This is my second time watching this. And he doesn't have to do this. He is standing up to these people to save this country. Who else would be able to do that? There's not another American alive who could stand up like this to the forces he's up against. And unlike pretty much everybody else that's ever been in the presidency or run for it, he's not running for president again to enrich himself, to elevate himself like all the others are. Like Nikki Haley's running, why? Military-industrial complex, big money. Ron DeSantis running, why? Another step up in the political thing, right? Not Trump. Trump is running again to save the country, and like he just said, save our Constitution. That's why he's fighting this. And if they put him in jail, they put him in jail. He's going to do what's right.
The money that was paid legally. There was nothing illegal. In fact, the lawyer in creating the NDA, because at that time he was a fully accredited lawyer. He wasn't a fixer.
You're talking about Michael Cohen.
I never thought of him as a fixer.
He can't
the
say the
media
name.
called him a fixer, or the prosecutors called him a fixer. He was a lawyer, and he was fairly good.
See, they call him the fixer because it implies that Donald Trump is doing all kinds of illegal things that need to be covered up. That's why they call Cohen the fixer.
Later on, I didn't like what he did. I didn't like, for instance, that when I became president, he went around and made deals with companies. When I heard that, he was gone. He was gone. And he had payments coming to him And a lot of this involved things that are very simple. There was nothing wrong. This was standard stuff, all standard stuff. Everything involved was standard. There was no crime here. In fact, I just watched a couple of the reports. You watched Jonathan Turley, Andy McCarthy, Greg Jarrett. You look at all of these people, Mark Levin, all very talented people, great people, many more. And they don't know me, essentially. They don't know me. They're legal scholars and experts. But I look at them. I watched Turley this morning saying, there's no crime here. Everybody says there's no crime here, except for this DA that's got the city out of control with crime. It's absolutely out of control. Yep. So we have an NDA that was signed. We have legal expenses. And here's the thing, on legal expenses, you have 100 where they say, they do a charge. I just recorded this out. Falsification of business records in the first degree. It sounds so bad. Yeah. I said, wow. And even my own lawyers, I get very upset with them because they don't say what it is. They say, well, falsification of legal records is only a felony. Well, that's a lot. Is only they say a misdemeanor. But they try and bring it up to a felony if there's 2 crimes. They have all these different things. The other thing is they missed the statute of limitations by a lot. Because this was very old. They could have brought this 7 years ago instead of bringing it right in the middle of the election. So they missed the statute of limitations.
I mean, think about that. Statute of limitations is up, so they can't prosecute. It's a federal crime that they're prosecuting in state court. They can't do that. The entire proceeding is unjust and illegal.
Did everything. Now, let me give you the good news. The good news is last night, we just got a report this morning, in the history of politics, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, somebody will find that I'm wrong, maybe, but I don't think so. They raised with small money donors, meaning like $21, $42, $53, $38, a record $39 million in about a 10-hour period.
Wow.
No, think of that.
Now it's over 50 million now. Over 50 million.
I like those people.
That's a statement.
Because so far, I guess it's backfired. Now, I don't know. I'd rather not have it happen. I don't want to have it backfire. I don't want to win this thing legitimately, not because they were stupid and did things that they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't have brought this case. They were saying it this morning. This is a case that should not have been brought. I watched Andy McCarthy say this is a case that should not have.
Yeah. Wow. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Sherry from Texas. How you doing?
All right, Sherry. What's up?
Hey, I watched everything go down the verdict and all, and listening to his speech this morning. And ever since he walked down that escalator for the first time, this is a one-man standing alone.
Yep.
Against how many of these corrupt, angry, just vindictive, demoralizing liberals and Democrats.
Yep.
I mean, countless. And they still can't take this one man standing down.
No, he continues to stand up to them.
What's that?
He continues to stand up to them. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Really, if you think about it, it's amazing.
It is.
What this man has been through, and this man is still full of fight.
Yep. That's right.
I mean, it's just astonishing. But I'm really happy I was able to catch you live today, Brian. Thank you so much. And
thank
I just wanted to speak on.
No, I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you. Yeah. You're all welcome to call in. If you're watching live, the number's pinned at the top of the chat. President Trump doesn't have to go through this. Who else is strong enough to go through this? He's been going through this now for how many years? 9 years. ago he came down the escalator. So he's had a decade of this crap. And it'll never end. And he knows it'll never end. Once he beats this, there'll be something else.
And that was this morning. But they all say that. Every legal scholar has said it. And these are great people. They really understand the law. The other thing, a poll just came out. The first poll, I don't know, maybe others will be bad. But a poll just came out.
They won't be bad.
A little while ago. The Daily Mail. Does anybody read the Daily Mail?
I read the Daily Mail.
They have a good poll?
You guys read the Daily Mail?
At least I like it today. And the Daily Mail just came out with a poll, and it has Trump up 6 points in the last 12 hours. 6 points. 6 points since this happened. Who thought this could happen?
That's amazing.
Because the people of our country know it's a hoax. They know it's a hoax. They get it. You know, they're really smart.
Robert, welcome. New subscriber to the channel. This is where MAGA comes to talk. You'll definitely enjoy my content. You know, this is amazing, right? The poll numbers going up instantly. The fundraising is over $50 million as of the moment I'm speaking right now, and that's going to continue to rise. These are strong messages, and the over $50 million, most of it are from small individual donors like you and me, people at our level.
And it's really something. So we're going to be appealing this scam. We're going to be appealing it on many different things. He wouldn't allow us to have witnesses. He wouldn't allow us to talk. He wouldn't allow us to do anything. The judge was a tyrant.
No doubt.
And you got to see that with Bob Costello. A fine man. I've never seen anything like it. And neither has anybody that was in that courthouse where he demanded that the courthouse be cleared. Now, the good news is most of the people in the courthouse were the media.
Yeah.
And anybody that was in the media, if you're fair.
Yeah, what they did to Costello was completely insane. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, bro? This is Ron from Atlanta.
Hey, Ron, what's up?
I'm curious. You live in Florida, and Trump is a resident of Florida. Can felons vote in Florida?
No.
Do you think that felons should be able to run the country if they can't vote in Florida?
Well, it depends. If they're really a felon.
Depends.
If they're really a felon. Trump's not a felon.
They have a conviction for it.
Trump's not a felon.
They have a conviction, but he has a conviction.
Trump's not a felon.
Right? He's not after this conviction?
No, the conviction's not legitimate.
No, it's legitimate.
No, it's not legitimate. No, it's not legitimate. So it's not on the book. Are you familiar? Okay, are you familiar with jurisdictions?
Yeah.
Okay, like you're in Georgia, right? So could a judge here in Florida try you for a crime you committed locally in Georgia?
Can a Florida judge try me for a crime?
Can a judge I'm in Florida, you're in Georgia, okay? And you're familiar with jurisdictions. Can a county judge in Florida try you for a crime that you committed in Georgia?
If it affected Florida somehow, but yeah, that's
no. If you if you shoplifted from a 7-Eleven in Georgia, could a judge in Florida try you for that case?
No. But
why? Okay, why not? Well, okay, believe me, I know where I'm. Listen, I know where I'm going with this. Why can a Florida judge not try?
It's out of his jurisdiction.
Correct. It's out of his jurisdiction.
Just like you said. But
this case.
Well,
I'm going to tell you. Now that we agree about judges having jurisdictions and things are out of their jurisdiction or in their jurisdiction, the charges that President Trump was so supposedly convicted of are federal charges. Federal charges.
No, he was charged in New York, so those aren't federal charges.
No, they're federal crimes. No, they're federal crimes that were tried.
So you telling me, can you do a state crime and then a federal crime as well? You don't think that's
no? These are federal. There are federal crimes and state crimes. These are federal crimes. No. These are federal crimes.
Like I'll give you an example. It was a drug dealer in Ohio. He had a state case, but it became so big that the feds picked it up, and vice versa. If the case isn't big enough, the state will take.
The feds can pick up any case, pretty much. Okay. Yeah. But we're not talking about these charges against Trump involve federal.
I really just asked you, do you think a felon should be president? You can't just say yes or no. I mean, it's not hard. That's what
he's not a felon.
So difficult with MAGA folks.
Well, I'm not done. I'm not done making my point, and I'm gonna make my point with you or without you. You can decide if you want to be a part of the conversation or not. These are federal charges in that courtroom. The judge is a local judge. A local judge in a state, in a county, does not have authority over federal charges.
Right, he was charged in New York.
But that's not legitimate. That's not legitimate.
How did they charge him if it's not
because they're corrupt. The judge is corrupt and the prosecutor's corrupt.
Well, then they're doing a pretty good job if they were able to.
No, it's going to be overturned. It's going to be overturned. It's going to be overturned.
But so he is a felon because you said it's
no,
gonna be
he's
overturned.
not. He's not. No, the courts.
You see how MAGA doesn't care about America? Y'all don't care about facts anymore.
No, you're ignoring the facts.
Care about the facts.
Like I give you an example of a federal crime. If someone commits espionage, right? If they steal secrets from the Pentagon, military secrets, that's a federal crime, and a local judge cannot try someone on espionage charges. That has to go to federal court.
But nobody is trying. No local judge is trying Trump on that. You're evading.
These are federal. He was tried for federal election crimes, not New York crimes. Federal.
Charged locally. He was charged locally.
For federal crimes. For federal crimes.
So you telling me you can't have an espionage case on a state level and then a
Correct.
federal level?
That's a federal crime. No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No,
what
you
about
can't.
Iran? That started off.
That's not espionage. That's not espionage. That's not espionage. I'm talking about like someone stealing secrets.
Okay, just back to my original question: should a felon be allowed to be president? Yes or no?
Trump is not a felon. Yes no? Trump is not a felon.
I just said a felon.
I don't know. No. I don't agree with your premise. Hey, listen. Thanks for your call. Yeah. You're all welcome to call whether you agree or disagree. But I think my point was made. If you're watching live, you can call me. The toll-free call-in number is pinned to the top of the chat. But I think the point was made about the federal and local crimes.
You'll say, "Wow, that was anger. That was crazed. He was crazed." And the reason that Bob Costello acted a little bit upset, which I think he has a right to.
Costello's amazing.
Was that every question he was being asked was being objected to by the other side and sustained by the judge. Sustained. I think he did it many times. I don't know what the number is. Many times. Even I was sitting there saying, and these were basic questions.
Yep.
And I never saw anybody treated that way by a judge. And I've been treated very badly by two other judges also, because it's all the same thing. And it all comes out of the White House. Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. He's the worst president in the history of our country. The most incompetent. He's the dumbest president we've ever had.
All true.
He's the dumbest president, most incompetent president, and he's the most dishonest president we've ever had. And so many of he's a Manchurian candidate. You take a look at the way he treats China, Russia, so many others. You know, I ended the Russian pipeline. It was dead. He comes in and he approves it. And he gets $3.5 million, meaning $3.5 million is paid to the family, his family, from the mayor of Moscow's wife. And I said, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Great question, President Trump.
But he's a very big danger to our country. And the only way they think they can win this election is by doing exactly what they're doing right now, win it in the courts because they can't win it at the ballot box. So we're going to show them that we're going to fight. It's actually, I don't know, it's something where I'm wired in such a way that a lot of people would have gone away a long time ago. They would have gone away after impeachment hoax number 1. That was a total hoax. I had great support from the Republican Party, though. Then you had impeachment hoax number 2. And then they formed the committee. How about they formed the committee of thugs, the J6 committee of thugs. And they took their records and they destroyed all of the records after the committee was abandoned because those records were great for us. Now, can you imagine if Republicans did that? Everybody would have been in jail by now.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. You know, what he's talking about the J6, they destroyed evidence. They destroyed evidence that they collected. Liz Cheney's January 6th committee because it cleared Trump. It's insanity. But he's the one facing criminal charges? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Nick in Baltimore.
Hey, Nick.
I just heard, the last caller.
Oh, yes.
The thing about it is not a legitimate case because President Trump was not allowed to present a defense.
Correct. That too.
Period.
That too.
End of sentence.
Yeah.
And because of that, it is an illegitimate charge, and it will be overturned.
Absolutely.
I'm so angry when I hear this kind of crap from people who there's a partisan.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Nick.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No,
I've got all the time in the world to yak.
Let me make him really mad. You know the person who really should charge with a crime? Obama, Clinton, and Biden. Go ahead.
Well, it's really upsetting when I hear African Americans celebrate such an injustice, the lawfare of the legal system being used by Democrats. You know, back in the days when Democrats were lynching blacks, oftentimes they'd be arrested and charged, and courts would dismiss the charges or find them not guilty, even though they were guilty. You know, and when I hear black people celebrating lawfare, it's sad.
It really is, and two wrongs don't make a right.
Correct.
Bottom line, it's just this will get overturned. But I was really upset yesterday, and I'm still hot today. But I may tell you, it's all going to work out because the Democrats have overstepped, really overstepped.
Well, Nick, every time they've gone after Trump, he's always come out on top.
Correct.
Always.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, it's good to hear from you.
Well, great show, and have a great weekend.
I appreciate it, yeah. By the way, if you're new, subscribe. I'm going to be around all weekend updating you. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be live streaming. Some of my live streams I'll take calls on like I'm doing now. Some I may not. But there's a lot of things that I want to get to that I'm not going to get to on this stream that I'll do in the morning tomorrow. So make sure that you are subscribed and click the notification bell. There's so much going on. And, this speech, I was so moved with this speech, especially this part forward of what President Trump is doing and how he's standing up to these people. I'm really upset about it. I mean, this guy's got a strength inside of him that mortal men do not have, and with all of this, he's still standing up to these evildoers.
Think of the unselect, I call it the unselect, they call it select committee, I call it the unselect committee of thugs. They meet, it's 100% Democrat and 2
Yeah. How do they get away with destroying evidence in that congressional committee? How'd they get away with that? The press doesn't even report it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, Sherry. Yeah, I want to Florida. I want to know, could they change the date of the
convention nomination? Absolutely. And in fact, the Trump family run the RNC now, right? And I was talking about this at the beginning of the stream this evening. And I would like, and I heard some other people bring this up yesterday. This is not my original idea, but I like it. And that is to move the nomination to July 4th, American Independence Day, 4th of July.
Yeah, I mean, what's the big deal? They can move it anywhere they want. I don't know why the heck they're having it in the walk.
There is a lot of logistics because you got to get all the delegates there, but it can be done and it should be done. And the Trump family run the RNC so they can schedule the vote prior. And I think when I think it would send a powerful statement if President Trump goes in front of this corrupt judge for his sentencing and he is the official nominee of the Republican Party.
Did you see Laura Loomer's on Tim Pool like right now live?
Oh, really? Anything else on that people might want to watch instead of me?
No, I just happened to
just
be
that one.
flipping
Okay,
around.
just Loomer on Tim Pool. Okay, appreciate it. Oh my gosh. All right, back to the president. You know that lady. She every time she calls, she does that. Every time she calls, she tells people something else to watch instead of me. Whatever. Back to this. You can watch Tim Pool later.
Asked Republicans that are no longer Republicans, that are no longer in business anymore. Thank you. But it was all Democrats and two wayward Republicans. Liz Cheney and crying Adam Kinzinger. He cries every time he goes on television. He's the most emotional human being I think I've ever seen. And that was our representatives. These two people were our rep. So they had all this stuff that they're leaking. And then when it came time to look at the records, like where the police said and the Capitol Guard said that I supplied, think of it, that I recommended as many soldiers or National Guard as you want. 10,000. If you had 500, you wouldn't have had a problem. There wouldn't have been a J6. But Nancy Pelosi and the group didn't want it. Anyway, so they have testimony to all of that I did not attack the Secret Service agent in the front of a car. You know, these are strong people. And I supposedly went to the driver, and I grabbed him around the neck. And he rebuffed me, and then I went to the other guy, who I think is a black belt in karate, and he's slightly younger than me, maybe 35 years, 40 years, 50 years. And I grabbed him around the neck and said, he's a black belt in karate. They know how to get somebody from around their neck. They would have gone like this, and that would be the end of that. Actually, I had a friend that said, you shouldn't dispute that. That makes you look like the toughest cookie we've ever seen.
I mean, look at this. Here's President Trump facing the rest of his life in prison with this corrupt judge. And here he is the day after, looking great. Not afraid, not worried, going after the judge, challenging what happened in the courtroom and calling them out. He's the bravest American we've had as president of the United States in any of our lifetimes.
November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country. Now, when I say that, because my people are always saying, do this, because we're fighting for America, DonaldJTrump.com. I hope everybody watching right now, DonaldJTrump.com, because it really makes a difference. They have a lot of money on the other side. I don't know where they get it. Nobody knows where they get it. But for some reason, they get money. But they're not on the side of our country. In many ways, I think they hate our country. Who on earth can want open borders where people are allowed to pour in from countries unknown, from places unknown, from languages that we haven't even heard of? We have people sitting in schools with languages where very few people have ever even heard of these languages. It's not like Spanish or French or Russian. Languages unknown. We have people coming from corners of the globe, and many of them are not good people. Many terrorists, record levels of terrorism, record levels of terrorists have come into our country. Record. They've never seen anything like it. You know, there was a report that in 2019, I don't believe this, by the way, the media gave it, and it was good for me, believe it or not. They said in 2019, there were no terrorists recorded that came into our country. I don't believe that. I don't think that's possible. But 2019 was a Trump year. I don't believe that could be possible. But they said no terrorists came into our country. So let's say it was close. But now record levels of terrorists, record levels, the highest level we've ever seen of terrorists.
You know, and this is what's insane. The Department of Homeland Security was set up to protect the homeland. Remember, we didn't have a Homeland Security Department on 9/11. And so Bush, Cheney, the Congress got together and said, we need to have a department that's just about protecting the homeland. And now look what they're doing. The Department of Homeland Security is doing the opposite. They're unprotecting the homeland, really, right? We had a border. The wall was almost done. We had soldiers on both sides. Everything was locked down, and they've opened up the homeland.
are pouring into our country. You have China with just in the last few months, 29,000 people came in, and I looked at them on a line.
29,000.
And they look like perfect soldiers. They're almost all male, from 19 to 25. It looks like a recruiting exercise. They have beautiful tents. They have propane stoves. They have cell phones, the best you can buy. I said, what's going on? It looks like they're building an army right in our country.
They are.
Now, I don't think that would happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're losing our country. And I really think that this is an event, what took place yesterday with this judge. Look, we have conflicted, but he's a crooked judge, and you'll understand that. And I say that knowing that it's very dangerous for me to say that, and I don't mind, because I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to save our country and to save our Constitution.
Yeah, that is just power. Let me rewind that. This is just so powerful.
And I really think that this is an event, what took place yesterday with this judge. Look, we have conflicted, but he's a crooked judge.
That's right.
And you'll understand that. And I say that knowing that it's very dangerous for me to say that, and I don't mind, because I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to save our country and to save our Constitution. I don't mind.
It's amazing. Do whatever I got to do to save our country and save our Constitution.
So,
got goosebumps. Don't you?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we will continue the fight. We're going to make America great again. Very simple. When people fight MAGA, they say, we're going to fight. I watch Biden. We're going to fight MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. It's make America great again. That's all it is. MAGA. Make America great again. Our country's in serious trouble. We owe $36 trillion. We were energy independent for the first time ever, and now we're begging Venezuela for oil. One statistic you have to hear. Venezuela was crime-ridden. Caracas, the
this
cities,
is amazing.
crime-ridden. 3 years ago. They just reported a 72% drop in crime in the last year.
That's nuts. Venezuela has a 72% drop in crime because they're sending all the criminals here. They're killing and raping our people, committing God knows what other crimes.
Because all of their criminals, most of them, and the rest are coming in now, the ones that didn't come in Venezuela, their prisons have been emptied into the United States. Their criminals and drug dealers have been taken out of the cities and brought into the United States. And that's true with many other countries. The Congo has just released a lot of people from jail. Congo, Africa.
The Congo.
Just
my goodness.
Released a lot of people from their prisons and jails and brought them into the United States of America. This is what's happening to our country. And it's not sustainable by anyone. Little things like our kids can't have a Little League game anymore because you have tents and you have migrants living on the fields. That's the least of it. People are taking over our luxury hotels, migrants, and yet our veterans, our great veterans, are living on the streets like dogs. They're living on the streets. But migrants are living in luxury hotels in cities all over our country run by Democrats. So it's my honor to be doing this. It really is. It's a very unpleasant thing, to be honest. But it's a great, great honor. We're gonna do what I have to do. I'm going to do it. And the support has been, that's why I mentioned the number of $39 million. That's why I mentioned we're up 6 points. And we went up a lot over the last month because everybody saw it was a rigged deal. It was a rigged trial. But we're going to make America great again. We're going to make it better than ever before. November 5th, remember, November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
Man, I just want to say the reason I played this in its entirety is I know the clips have been around on the news. I know you've seen the clips on social media and everything. But I think it's important to watch it all, not just the sound bites. And, he cared enough to come out and do it. Everything he's going through with us, I think we should dedicate the time to watch the entire thing. But you can also hear he's not broken. They're trying to break this man. And, I remember once Eric Trump said during one of these scummy things they were doing to President Trump, I can't remember which one it was, but Eric Trump said that his dad is at his best when he's being oppressed, when everybody else would give up. When he's down, that's when he's doing his best. And that's where we are right now. He could make a deal to not face any penalties if he would just not run. But he won't do it. He's not making any deals like Jenna Ellis and all the rest. Okay? He's going to do what's right because he's trying to save our country. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And everyone who's already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video. I'd appreciate that. And if you would like to support my content, of course, the best way you can do that is to go to mypillow.com and load up. You can use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, on all the specials at mypillow.com, and free shipping on all orders over $75 too with my promo code Kane. The MyPillow 2.0 is buy one, get one free right now. This is the pillow that I sleep on. It has the temperature regulating technology, and during these hot summer months, you'll be the perfect temperature all night long. So go to mypillow.com. Right now, there's 50% off on the mattress sales. The MyPillow mattress toppers, 50% off. Some great deals. Go to mypillow.com and load up. You can use my promo code Kane on all the specials at mypillow.com, not just the ones I'm talking about. And when you do that, you're supporting my channel and all my content. All right? Promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at mypillow.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean. What's up?
I'll do anything it takes to save this country. I mean, those words were just, that alone right
powerful.
There. That's absolutely incredible.
Powerful.
Just unbelievable. And, every movement, it has purpose. Every step he does and everything he's doing. And his resolve is absolutely unmatched.
Yeah.
And, watch this whole thing. You just see how
he's doing it. He's doing this for us.
For us. And it's amazing how he looks great. He looks younger, right? He looks sharp. He's got the best suit. He just looks absolutely sharp. The man is just so ready to go. And so much support, and he knows this, and that just adds to it. That adds to the fire for him. His fire that just burns with him for America. And it's just so awesome that everybody's stepping so up with him on this. Everybody's making a big step. And the site crashed in 2 minutes as soon as it went up. And that was amazing. I mean, the records are broken. Everything he does breaks a record, and it's just absolutely unbelievable. We are witnessing incredible history, and we're witnessing dark history, but at the same time, we're witnessing actually an amazing thing too, because we're seeing a man who nobody else could deal with this. I've never seen anybody, the most investigative man of all time.
I can barely handle watching it. Can you imagine going through it?
Man, it's just one onslaught after the next, but the man just gets more motivated, and it's so true. And his family's right about this, and they would know. And we see it ourselves that this guy just doesn't quit. He never quit anything. He just gets. That's why he's so successful and everything 10 times over. And and it's so amazing to be able to have somebody out there that's doing this, because we're so lucky to have this guy with us.
We are. We're blessed.
Right. No politician has ever been this sincere. Like you said, he's not been backed up by any establishment, the first of his kind, maybe the only one of his kind, possibly. Hopefully this will be a new thing. We'll see the new breed of politician is born. The MAGA candidate.
There's never going to be anyone like Trump. There's never
no one like this.
I mean, first off, to be rich and famous your entire life and have a completely clean record like he has. How many men could be that rich and that famous their whole life and be completely clean like this guy? It's like he's like a saint almost.
He is. Yeah. I mean, it's just absolutely. He has everything and more, and he wants. No one does that. And they, he knows that they could all stop any second. The minute he says, I'm not going to run. But that's just that's right. It's not his thing. A man who has a clean record all this time, but all of a sudden he has, multiple charges all of a sudden everywhere across the board. Right. All of a sudden.
Well, listen, I appreciate the call, man. All right, take care. Thanks so much. Well, that's all the time I have for right now, but I will be back over the weekend. Make sure you're subscribed. Get that notification bell clicked, and you'll get a notification when I go live. And I will do more streams over the weekend where I'm taking calls like I'm doing now. Some I will do without taking calls, and I'll have some podcast up over the weekend too, because there's so much to talk about with everything that has happened to our great president, Donald Trump. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next time.